Today we're going to talk about finding your very first retail vendor, location, partner. And if you stick around with me to the very end of this video, I'm going to share with you an event going on right now in your community that's going to help you find your very first partner, your very first location. So stick with me here. To be successful, to get your very first store partner, you have to change your thought process a little bit. It's not enough to just find potential retail partners. You got to start thinking like they think. So let me take you through the process. First of all, we're looking for small, independent business owners. At this point, we're not going to mess around with franchises or large organizations. We need to be able to identify the decision maker, the guy who makes the decisions, the guy who says yes or no. And you're going to find that person in a small independent shop, and you're going to be able to talk to them. But before we even do that, I want you to start thinking about everyone you know who works in a situation like this. Everyone who works maybe in a chiropractor office, works in a nail salon, a hairstylist, craft store, goes to flea markets. Start thinking about that. And I want you to keep a notebook. Now, we're going to make a list. And I know this sends shockwaves into network marketers. We're not going to contact everybody on that list, okay? Calm down. We're going to keep notes, and we're going to study the situation. That's going to help us. We're going to contact very few people on that list. Now, I want you to go through your own hometown, maybe take a ride in a car. It's very helpful. I found that very helpful for me. Drive into some of the surrounding communities and looking down the road and saying, okay, here's a possible good location. Okay, this is the kind of store. Who do I know? Because that very first one, we want to make a personal connection. When I was running my weekly newspaper, I would always go into convenience stores in other towns because I was looking for new locations that would sell my newspaper as a vendor. So first of all, I wanted to meet them as a customer. I wanted to be their customer before I became their vendor location. I wanted to go in there, and I would start like 3 or 4 weeks ahead of time before I would ever approach them. I'd buy a candy bar, a bag of chips, a pop, and I try to take some mental notes up here, okay, is it busy? Who works there? Who's the decision maker? Is the decision maker there? I'm collecting all this information, and then after doing my homework 3 or 4 weeks down the road, now I'm ready to maybe make a connection and say, hey, I'd really like to sell my newspapers at your location. What would be the chance? Well, we'll go into that later. So once you start the thinking process, it'll get better. I guarantee it'll get better. It'll become natural. And actually, once you've got your first location started and get a couple locations started, you're going to be able to use those as success stories to sign up your next ones. I mean, it's going to be a snowball. So right now, we've got to find that very first account. Now, I promised you that there's an event going on in your community right now that's going to help you. And here's what it is. Remember the Christmas bazaars? Remember the Christmas cookie walks, the craft shows, the special Christmas vendor shows where you have all these merchants come in? Yeah, it's yours for the picking to go. You need to go visit one of those. You need to go and check those out. You need to collect business cards. You need to collect promotional materials. You need to kind of maybe talk to some people. We're not going to sell them. I don't want you out there selling them right now. You're not ready for that. Right now, I just want you to go. I want you to take an inventory of who's out there now. One of the vendors that we're looking for is that person who sells a lot at craft shows, at flea markets. Now, if they're just doing this once a year, we want that guy that says, hey, I go to the Grand Haven flea market every week, and I'm there every week. I've got a table set up, or I go all over the Midwest, or I do this is what you're listening for. The person who does this on a regular basis, the person who makes raggedy hand dolls, I don't know, the person who makes Christmas stockings, and is pretty serious about this. That's a person that you could eventually say, hey, would you give this a shot? If I gave you some product, would you put this out on your counter for one of your flea markets? So, that's how you're going to get your foot in the door. You've got to do your research. And then you start making connections with these people. You're not going to sell them right off the get-go unless you've already know them. If you already know somebody, man, you're right where you want to be. I'm getting a ton of interest and excitement with this series on retail selling. So in my next video, I'm going to cover what to say and what not to say when talking to your very first decision maker. And then I'm going to cover also about who's going to foot the bill. Should I cover the cost of this product going in? Should I make the retailer cover the cost? We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then I'm going to close this next video with my opinion of which products from LiveGood I think are going to be the best ones for you to use to get your retailer to start out with. Now, if you haven't already joined LiveGood as an affiliate, make sure you get that done before the end of the year. There's been discussion of changing that once in a lifetime fee to yearly starting in 2024, and I'm not sure how that's going to shake out. So make sure you get in as soon as you can. Now, if you're working with a friend, by all means, join with your friend. If you don't know who to join with, I'd be happy to have you on my team. My link is in the details of this video. This is going to be exciting. We're going to take over the world. So, hey, good talking to you. See you soon. Bye-bye.